Just look at the target, look at the ball, and swing. If you're looking to shave some strokes off your score without having to revamp your swing mechanics, this is the greatest golf book I've ever read in terms of the mental game. This book is going to shave strokes off your score without having to change your swing. Let's dive in. 80% of every golf shot happens before you even take the club back. The pre-shot routine helps you build a decisive plan for every shot you take. Now notice I said every shot you take. Every shot on the golf course should have a pre-shot routine. It should be consistent, it should be reliable, and it should help you get your mind in a confident space so then you can execute the task before you. Now, as you can see with this 3-putt, it's not always going to go how you planned it, but having a pre-shot routine will increase the likelihood of a positive outcome. And that's because it's getting your body and your mind in the right place to execute a successful golf shot. Now, during your pre-shot routine, when you're picking a target, you don't want to pick a broad target like the fairway. That could send it anywhere. You want to pick a very specific point, knowing which direction you're more prone to missing. And that way, if you do miss, like I did here, I'm still safe. I avoided the water, I avoided the trouble because I had a very specific target and knew where my ball would go relative to the target. The last thing Bob says about pre-shot routine is just that if you're only going to have one golf lesson in your life, it should be focused around grip, stance, posture, ball position, and alignment, and developing a routine that you can rely on. That's going to set you up for success more than any other golf lesson you could get. Sigmund Freud taught that people are victims of circumstance. Bob Rotellas taught that this is a bunch of BS. We're in the driver's seat. We're in control. The people who recognize this are the people that are going to win. And Bob says the people who embrace this mindset are going to have better golf games and they're going to have better lives. Golf is a game of consistency. So aside from building a consistent swing and a consistent game, we got to have consistent thoughts. Those are the root, the foundation of building that consistent game. Your state of mind is so important in the game of golf. You can't let a couple bad scores on the first couple holes or a couple bad shots throw you off. You have to have those consistent, confident thoughts in order to have the best game possible. See here, I had a rough first 2 holes, not the greatest tee shot on the third, but I was able to park my approach there and get an easy tap in par. These consistent positive thoughts include a lot of visualization. You have to see the ball rolling into the hole, see the ball flying up towards the pin, doing exactly what you planned. Every shot, whatever shot it is, see the ball doing exactly what you want it to do. Now, you may practice and work hard and think you've got everything figured out, and then you get on the course and just fall apart. Bob uses an analogy of a 4-inch by 4-inch beam on the floor. When it's on the floor, it's easy to walk on. You put that thing 40 feet in the air and you start overthinking, stressing, overanalyzing. And that leads us to category 3, which is no swing mechanics on the course. There's 2 different states of mind in the game of golf. There's the training mentality and the trusting mentality. Training is for practice time, only about half of your practice time. The other half, you should trust what you've trained. And when we're on the course actually playing, we should 100% be in the trusting mentality. That's when we let things happen. That is essential for playing the best golf that we can play. Everybody's going to have off days with their golf swing. If we're trying to fix the mechanics and focus on the mechanics, it's only going to make things worse. You can do well with whatever swing you bring to the course that day. You just have to trust it and focus your thoughts on your pre-shot routine instead of every minute detail of what you're doing during your golf swing. Every golfer has had a hot streak at one point or another. What that tells you is you know how to make things happen. It doesn't have to be when your swing is perfect or everything's firing on all cylinders. You just have to trust the swing you have, and you can get on a hot streak every single time you play golf. What happens is we let our mind interfere with our physical abilities. We need to block that mind out from being too analytical and let ourselves get into that flow state where everything just goes how we want it to go. So when you're out on the golf course, do not focus your thoughts on swing thoughts or mechanics. Focus on your pre-shot routine, focus on your target, focus on being decisive with the club you chose and the shot you're going to hit, not how you're going to hit it. All right, next up is what to do after we hit a bad shot. It's again all about mind state. We need to be calm. We need to embrace it. Bob Rotellas said Chip Beck, when he hit a bad shot, he'd just say, "You gotta love it." That's what golf is all about. That's how we need to see our bad shots. It makes golf so much more enjoyable and it makes us more capable of getting out of trouble. We have this fallacy of judging how we play with how well we expected to play. Your only two goals on the golf course should be one, have fun, and two, enjoy the process of playing. Believe that it will go where you want and don't be upset when it doesn't. Tough self evaluation is a very valuable skill, but not while you're on the golf course. Golf is not a game of perfect. We need to expect to make mistakes and know they're going to happen, but know that we can get out of trouble when they do happen as well. We have this tendency to remember all the bad shots and not remember or think about the good ones we had. Remember the good shots. That's one great way to play that Fred Couples did. Every time he pulled the club out of the bag, he would remember the greatest shot he'd ever hit in his life with that club. Next up is short game. Bob dedicates a big portion of the book to talking about short game. He says anything 120 yards in is critical. You got to spend a lot of time focusing on that to get better at golf. Bob says you'll do more good for your game on the practice green than you will on the driving range. And his argument is that if you hit two bad shots with your long clubs, say you hit a drive out to the right and then you hit a fat approach, you can still save par with a good pitch shot that stops close to the hole and an easy putt. Whereas if you hit a great drive and a decent approach, you blade a chip, and then it's very unlikely then you're going to get par. And this is again where he talks about not freezing over the ball, not overthinking. Just look at the target, look at the ball, and swing. That's going to get you the best results 9 times out of 10. Davis Love III got a lot better at his short game when he started approaching it like Michael Jordan. Look at the target, look at the ball, and swing. None of this analytical garbage while you're out on the golf course. Next up, he talks about putting and how it's almost entirely mental. Just commit completely to your read with a decisive attitude and trust you're going to get the result that you want. Next up, conservative play. Bob Rotella talks about how the tour sometimes sensationalizes aggressive play and makes it look like the best decision. He talked about Arnold Palmer in round 4 birdieing a hole that he had gone for the green every time. Everybody was like, wow, he went for it and he got a birdie. But they didn't talk about how he doubled the hole and bogeyed the hole in previous rounds trying to go for the green. Net, he would have been a lot better off if he would have just played conservative every time. So you have to have a game plan, and it has to be conservative if you want to play your best golf. Learn the course, learn the holes, know where the hazards are and the problems are, know your shot shapes and where you're likely to miss, and then you can aim accordingly. You can pick the right clubs that are going to get you in positions to make your next shot easy when you do miss the shot. In the long run, the more conservative choices that you make, the more you're going to win and play better golf. Next up, Bob's talking about being ready for the pressure in the tournament play. Now, the things that stop us from being ready are like the 40-foot balance beam example. We're tight, we're tense, we're trying to make adjustments with our swing, with our mechanics. We're losing our confidence. All of these things are going to make us play poorly, especially when there's a high-pressure situation. Now, he says, of course, in these high-pressure situations, we're going to be nervous. We're going to have a lot of adrenaline pumping through our body. He says this doesn't have to be a bad thing. A successful golfer is one who doesn't try to still his hands and quiet his heart. He just focuses on his mind and making sure his mind is doing what it's supposed to do. Because you can't really control your body in situations like that, but you can control what you're thinking and what you're focusing on. Now, everybody's going to make mental mistakes, and it's very important not to dwell on those mistakes. Very important not to dwell on the score you're shooting or say, oh, if I can par 2 of the last 3, I'll get my personal best. You can't think about that stuff. You just got to stare at the target, stare at the ball, and swing. Just free your mind, loosen up. That's going to build your confidence. That's going to help you play the best golf you can play. And he says it's very possible to trick your mind. If you have a goal to break 90, visualize it. Imagine yourself shooting 86. See every shot that you hit throughout the round to get to that point. Imagine yourself sticking with your routine, sticking with your game plan, visualizing all the shots, both the good shots and the bad shots. Just fully visualize it, close your eyes, see it happening, know that it actually happened, and you'll be surprised at how much this gets you over the barriers you're trying to cross in your golf game. If you're committed and have the right mindset, you're going to watch your golf game soar. If you like what you saw, hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.